Hello, this is Mahlena Ray Johnson with Write Your First Book with Mahlena. Today we are talking about the topic $1 billion. Wait, I think that was, I was supposed to put that up there. Oh, wow. Okay, so it's still the same point. We're talking about $1 billion. What's your impossible goal? So before we start getting onto that, if you're here watching my video on Write Your First Book with Mahlena, then you should start writing now. Get out your phone and start typing your notes about your story, or get a pen and a piece of paper or a pencil and a notebook. Yeah, that's right. And write your notes down about your story. Or if you are watching this video on your computer, then type as you watch. Then what's the next thing? All right, what's the next thing? Me, who am I? I'm still Mahlena Ray Johnson, and I went to Loyola Marymount University for film school. Then I went to the University of Southern California for business school, where I got my MBA in marketing, entertainment, and entrepreneurship. So I am immensely qualified to help you write your first book. And what's our topic today? $1 billion. What's your impossible goal? Okay, so I have other things to mention too in relation to this. So of course, one of my impossible goals is to become a billionaire mom. Through that, I also want to smash the patriarchy along the way. So I'm wearing this shirt, and sometimes I get various reactions to the shirt. So I'll stand up so you can see the whole thing, and then you can Google it and maybe get your own shirt. So the funniest reaction that I've gotten so far is, "Are those your children?" Yeah, no, these are not my children. This shirt is a Mother's Day present, but these are not my kids. That would be really odd, especially since two of them are older than I am. So I'd have to go back in time for that. And then what was the other thing? Oh, yes. Yeah, the thing about Googling. So I often tell people part of smashing the patriarchy is not having, not asking people to do emotional labor for you, especially if you are not on the end of that marginalization, or just because you don't want to be a lazy loser. So when I tell people to Google things, I actually Google things myself before I get into discussions with people. Because it's just like, it's right there. If you're on the computer or you're on your phone typing out this question, stop, look it up, and then come back to the conversation, which is something I did yesterday. Okay, I did it yesterday when someone told me about an organization, and I said, "Oh, okay, let me look about that." I looked it up, and then I had something relevant to apply to the conversation that I thought was great, instead of just asking the other person to tell me about this knowledge that she gained, that she has already participated in. So let's get back to our impossible goals. What's an impossible goal? It's something that you can't achieve. And I used to think that impossible meant that, oh, no, it's never going to be done. But what I've been looking at this year, 2018 specifically, is some of the impossible goals that I've already achieved and the ones that I want to do in the future. And I like to look back. Okay, I have other things open. That's why it's boop, 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 boop. My main impossible goal, as I mentioned, is to become a billionaire mom. That's what we're going to talk about right now. And why do I want to become a billionaire mom? So there are a lot of people out there who want to become millionaires. There are people out there who want to become millionaire moms specifically. And I think that's super. And that's definitely an achievable goal. Why I want to become a billionaire mom is that brings up, with that level of wealth, it's much different than just being a millionaire. At the $1 million level, you're secure, you're safe, you're doing what you need to, and paying your bills on time. That's fine. That's great. Even at the $100 million level, that's also great. Super. I think Usher is at that level, and he invested in some sports teams, probably Jay-Z is above that level. He owns the Brooklyn Nets. At the billion-dollar level, you're talking about owning countries. You can own an island as a millionaire. You can definitely own a few islands as $100 million heir, person who has $100 million. But at $1 billion, this is when you get to Davos level. Of course, probably no one would invite me, but you get invited to other things, and you can actually shape world events in ways that you couldn't before. For instance, there is space travel being done by billionaires. I don't know if they're actually going themselves, but they're figuring out how to get to space. You can't do that at the $1 million level. That's just not, you can get a bunch of other people and try to do something, but it's similar to what Sean Diddy, brother love, I'm not sure what his name is, Mr. Combs is saying that he wanted to purchase Baltimore Ravens, but he can't do that at his level. He needs to be a billionaire to do that because sports franchises are expensive unless you're buying a smaller franchise. Like, I'm pretty sure he could probably invest in a soccer team in the United States. That would be more at his level, but it takes a lot to be in the NFL. And of course, most of the NFL owners, unless I'm completely thrown off, are all white men who don't want to deal with Puff Daddy. So if he had $1 billion, he could probably use it in another way as well. But we're not talking about what he should do with his money. This is me. This is about me. What I want to do with my money when I become a billionaire mom. I also can't do it on my own. I can't just become a billionaire overnight. And there's also the reason why. Why do I want to do this? Well, I've done some research. I've actually done my Googles and looked for other billionaire women. Most of them haven't inherited their wealth. They're part of a wealthy family. And they didn't somehow overnight discover a patent for curing cancer. Their families most likely did something terrible to a bunch of people and somehow over generations accumulated that wealth and then passed it on to them. So there are other people who did not do that, and there are a few women who are billionaires. The most prominent one is Oprah, who did it through media, and she did it through media, but also through a specific way of communicating with people. So there's things that I want to do. There's things that I want to do this year to start. I guess it's like when you're running a marathon. You don't just go out and say, I'm going to run a marathon. You have to practice. You can't just get up one day and start running 26.2 miles. You have to practice. So I want to connect with other people who have impossible dreams that they know that they can't achieve on their own, but are willing to do the work to go after those dreams, to attempt those dreams, that they believe that even if they don't necessarily achieve those dreams, there is something to be gained in the journey and the aspiration and the action that you put in to achieving that dream. I think to myself, there are billionaires out there. Not all billionaires inherited their wealth. Most of them did by very nefarious means done by their families over the past centuries. But some of them didn't come from wealthy families. Some of them came from middle to upper class families, but not necessarily people with $1 billion. So they're going to be billionaires. Why can't I be one of them? And I can do something good in the world as I make it to that point. So I want to find other women with that entrepreneurial mindset who don't just want to do something small and don't just want to think realistically, but want to think bigger than they can ever imagine. That people who want to do things that they know they can't think of on their own and they know don't exist right now, but will exist in the future, and they want to be a part of that. So I want to know from you people who are watching, are you someone with an impossible goal? Or do you know someone with an impossible goal who would say, yeah, Mahlena, I want to talk to you about my impossible goal. Also, I want to hear about what your goals are, even if you think they're not impossible. Maybe you think they're impractical. Maybe you think they just can't be done. So why bother getting up off the couch? And I think I've also been inspired by watching Family by the Ton, a TLC show that recently had its season finale. It was a family of morbidly obese people, and now they are still obese people, but they all underwent sleeve surgery so that in their stomach so that they could lose weight rapidly and have a better lifestyle than they would if they had stayed at over 300 pounds for all of them. Some of them were over 500 pounds. So looking at them and saying they decided to make a change because it was life-threatening, do this or die. And I don't have that same, I'm not their size, but I am making my own health changes in my life, trying to figure out what works for me. I like vegetables, so if you like vegetables, tell me in the comments. But the thing that I want to leave on is, if you have an impossible goal, please share it with me or with someone you trust. And I want to hear from you about your impossible goals and why you think they're impossible and how you think you could achieve them with someone else to help you. So tell me about your impossible goal. Mine is becoming a billionaire, and then the other is smashing the patriarchy, which I can't do alone. We have to do it together. So I want to hear from you. You can write me at writeyourfirstbookwithmahlena@gmail.com. Again, that's writeyourfirstbookwithmahlena@gmail.com. And if you happen to be watching this on YouTube and I say, leave a comment, well, you can't leave a comment. So if you're watching on Facebook, you can leave a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, you can't. So email me. Again, that email address is writeyourfirstbookwithmahlena@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.